All right, we've got a crazy amount of stuff to talk about today, such as Venezuelan blackout allegedly caused by electromagnetic attack. Flooding hits Lehigh Valley again. Google wants to buy your face for $5. We're going to talk about Sunspot 2745, or what used to be Sunspot 2745, located right there under my pointer. We're going to talk voids, creepiness, and all kinds of other stuff. So stay tuned for 1 minute of lead time. Going to let the 171 angstroms view play. Give you 1 minute of lead time. Tell your friends and your foes. And we'll be right back in 1 minute. All right, let's look at some more views here of our favorite local yellow dwarf. The only local yellow dwarf. Coronal hole watch. Not a lot to see except the polar ones. Note the offset of the solar poles. They're offset in the north a little bit to the east. As you see the polar north pole somewhere around here. So we've got that offset coronal hole. Look at also the 304 angstroms view for any plasma filaments. This ionized iron view. Courtesy the NASA SDO. We're looking at 8.5 hours, by the way. Sunspot 2745 has degraded to the point where it's no longer a sunspot. So if you blinked, you might have missed it. Real-time solar wind. We see a fluctuating phi angle in the past few hours. Fluctuating density. Somewhere in between 2.2 and less than 1 proton per cubic centimeter, so very low wind speed. Very low wind density. Wind speed kind of low too here, 404 kilometers per second. Higher than it was yesterday. Still solar minimum-y. It's solar minimum-y. Here's where things are located. Here's where things will be on the 30th. We're approaching a syzygy between the Earth, Mercury, the Sun, and Venus. Actually, Mercury will be out of there. Mercury is catching up to Venus once again as it laps all the planets in the system. Going to look at a view from stereo A real quick. This is the 195. Actually, we're going to do the 284 angstroms view here. This is iron 15. And there's the view of the stereo A. Let's actually look at that other one. This is going to be the most current data we can get. Not exactly sure how that works. But anyway, there's the view from stereo A. We do see some activity, and It's punctuated by a parenthetical pair of coronal holes there on both sides. So also, we see that the North Pole coronal hole isn't particularly offset. It's just the way that looks, because you're looking at a three-dimensional object and you're getting a two-dimensional view of it. The corona is not flat. That's all I can say. Anyway, let's look at the magnetosphere movies. We'll see significant fluctuation here in the density. I don't know what the hell happened there. That wasn't what we wanted to happen. Here's the pressure. About what you would expect based on the solar wind, since this model derived from the solar wind and a lot of other data. We'll explain what data that is, or how to find that data at least, in a moment. So if you're interested in how this works, just scroll down and you'll see a tab that says details. Click that tab, click Space Weather Modeling Framework, which is going to direct you to a different site. Click on Downloads over here, and you'll have access to a 221-page document. I think that was the right one. Downloads. There's a manual on how to, quote, use the space weather modeling framework. If you're interested in all the details of where that model comes from. Anyway. Here's the manual that you will get. And it's got all of the technicals. It's literally got the code and stuff. So again, if you're interested in how the space modeling framework works, it's publicly accessible information, folks. If we're going to look at the ground magnetic perturbations here, changes in the Earth's B field, or as noted here, geospace delta B. Also part of the University of Michigan geospace model. There are the current fluctuations as the South Pole creeps into the Indian Ocean. The Canadian North Pole has the main perturbations, and the Siberian North Pole seems kind of stable. And that's a good thing if you weren't aware. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, folks, where lots of people start to understand things like physics for real. All right, let's refresh this. Check out in-the-sky.org to make your own sky map. Now I'm located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. East central Pennsylvania. I'll keep that vague enough that you can't stalk me. As security is taken quite seriously. Anyway, if you've got a clear sky, which we don't, as it continues to pour on us. I almost said a vulgar term there, folks, but not quite. Check out smAsho's mission, which isn't just to play first-person shooters anymore. It's also to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, because that's kind of important. And we're going to put this graphic on smAsho.org today. It's also to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects. Welcome to space. Earth's weather is entirely caused by stuff going on in space. And this idea of dynamos inside of stuff like the sun is ridiculous. It's also to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems, publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including but not limited to sciences like spectroscopy, chemistry, astrophysics, health, wellness, longevity, cosmology, biology, etc., in order to assist the humans. And for 15 bars of gold pressed platinum, I would be more than happy to assist you too. That Ferengi reference brought to you by Gene Roddenberry. Don't worry, folks, we're not doing any seances with Gene Roddenberry. Anyway, the reason that we want to do this sort of stuff is to optimize value and advance the study of predictive phenomenon, reduce risk and liability, save lives and resources, and adapt no matter what the adversity is. And also to not be ossified in our beliefs, since that's not how science works, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion, because people who've wasted their entire careers studying irrelevant phenomenon are not happy when it's realized that they've been studying irrelevant phenomenon. So give them a pass. Talk about the local void. Actually, let's talk about Patreon, as only our patrons get that graphic, although you could screenshot it from the video. Anyway, that's a map of the local environment. And our only Patreon tier is $1 at this point. So if you want to get in on the ground level of an exceedingly growing channel, please do so. Here's the sun from this morning. This is about 3 hours ago. And this one would just be released. This one was just released a half an hour ago. So almost exactly a half hour ago to this live stream. As that sunspot degrades. Thanks, actual patrons. If you're unable to patronize the channel, please share on your social media or do something helpful, as Eden will do, now has 14 accounts. And I'm not sure if YouTube considers that an additional subscriber or not. Anyway, we make these GIF animations regularly to kind of view the sun in a bunch of different wavelengths. And if you want to receive these before everybody else, it's usually only a few hours before the public does, but this data is irrelevant in a few hours. But you will get this cool GIF animation if you open up your dust-covered wallet for $1 a month. Clear away the moths, or if you don't like Patreon, we do have a PayPal. Also linked in the description, just like the Hemp Lucid campaign, the Spaced Out campaign specifically formulated for our spaced out viewers. By the way, thanks everybody for leaving comments. I'm trying to get to them, as I was running very late, and this is probably going to be a pretty long stream. There's a lot of stuff to cover, such as prepping. Let's talk prepping. Do you have a bike? Are you a prepper? Do you have a bicycle? Like any bicycle? No? Well, hybrids are a good choice for a prepping bike. You can get them in all kinds of different configurations for pretty much anything you could possibly want, whether you want one that weighs 15 pounds and is made of carbon fiber, or if you want a cheap one to put inside of a space bag and put in your nuclear fallout shelter, or whatever you've got constructed for when you're expecting crustal displacement to cause the local mountain to fall on top of you. In any case, if you're prepping for things like a grid down scenario and the fact that there will be no gas at the gas stations within 24 hours of any sort of significant crisis, and people will kill each other over a gallon of gas within 24 hours of there being no gas at the pumps. How about a Felt versus Speed 30, the brand new model, complete with disc brakes? See, hybrids are probably the best prepping bike, folks, because hybrids are extremely versatile. They're usually lugs for racks and so on. So anyway, check out theveloshop.net, the official cycling sponsor of me, a longtime bike racer since 1997, when I started racing on the cross-country mountain bike. Also, check out the music. If you want to add some tracks to your collection and or hear them at full volume, check out soundclick.com/GoldenCat Productions. Here's Unified Theory 3. This track's about 20 years old. I better shut that off because it is too loud for 5 a.m. Anyway, add it to your MP3 collection for 99 cents, or perhaps stream it for free. Anyway, links to the music sites also in the description. We'll cover other social media in a moment. Check out spaceweather.com for the latest stuff, such as Perseid meteors and the 10.7 centimeter radial flux, which is apparently back down to 67. I must have missed that update. I thought it was still at 68, but cheers. Check out the LASCO C3. Great view of Venus as it starts to swing around to the far side of the sun. SpaceWeatherNews.com showing us some extremely flatlined X-ray flares. Just a background X-ray emission. Barely any perturbance despite a sunspot showing up and vanishing before most people even noticed. Magnetometer still looking very spiky as the heliospheric current sheet sector crossing boundary polarity thing going on is still going on. And we expect to see continued major fluctuations in this ghost magnetometer. KP index at 2 right now, has that slight increase in fluctuation in the solar wind speed and density. You see a flatlined electron flux here, very low electron flux. The kind of thing you see with a coronal hole wind stream. Charging hazards are very minimal over the South Atlantic, Caribbean, Northern South America area. And the F2 layer is pretty charged on the night side, actually. So it's looking a little anomalous right now. If you want to view that throughout the day, head to spaceweathernews.com. And you can always open that in a new tab. Just hit refresh. This thing refreshes very quickly, folks. So I'm not sure if it's a 1-minute refresh. But I'll have to make an animation of that sometime to show you what the ionosphere looks like in an animated mode. Here's a Gong 2 data, and you see this fluctuation going on here. And yeah, that's going to be causing some serious shock waves going on there in the ghost magnetometer. Expect that. Although low solar activity, those aren't going to be big fluctuations. We're talking about basically just a polarity fluctuation there. And there's not a lot of plasma density to transmit that into your backyard. Follow us on other social media if you like, such as Instagram, where we talk about putting mountain bike pedals on women's comfort cruisers.
Yeah, I go through drive-thrus on the bike.
And going through drive-thrus on the bike.
Shooey! She's one sweet ride. It's a Free Spirit Brittany. Weighs about, I don't know, 47 pounds. And yeah, please leave a comment if you put mountain bike pedals on your women's comfort cruiser.
Do you put mountain bike pedals on your women's comfort cruiser? If so, leave a comment on Instagram, but not on Twitter because I will not be on there. However, smAsho staff, and heads up, cheers, smAsho staff. Thanks for all your hard work. smAsho staff posts all the daily space weather videos on Twitter so you can share them with your friends and foes. Going to be talking to Mr. Westbrook of Ice Age Farmer later today. Stay tuned for that, as we'll be posting another video this afternoon if all goes according to plan. Also follow us on Gab. We're using that a little bit. Check out the awesome thumbnails. If you'd like graphic design work done, email me at smashomash@gmail.com. I might even give you a good rate if I like what you're doing. Otherwise, it's going to be $100 to $150 an hour. Also, follow us on Minds, minds.com/smashomash. The social media that's not only open source, but that will not censor you. Help us get to 500,000 views. We've got less subscribers here, only 704, than we have on YouTube, amazingly. And our subscriber count on YouTube has been pegged at the mid-1300s here for months and months and months. So please share the videos on your social media. And if you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe. And the notification bell is crucial, as if you do not press it, you may not see these live videos. Earthquake rundown. 4.5 in Broome, Australia, once again. 5.5 in India. 4.7 in India. We're only going over 4+ magnitude quakes here, folks. And I don't know why I'm on 719. This is absolutely not the right data. Yeah. What the hell? It's showing me 720. Something is screwy. I'm just going to leave this in a default settings because I can't stand using this. I'm only going to turn on the satellite view, so it's slightly less displeasing to the eye. For you new viewers out there, not a fan of the USGS website. All right, making it more difficult to go down the list. How about a 2.9 under Old Faithful? The Yellowstone geyser. Probably the most famous geyser in the world, Old Faithful. Although this is 14 kilometers northeast of it. It's only 14 kilometers away, folks. Anyway, the star is the location of that small quake. No, I don't think Yellowstone's going to erupt. No, I don't. Not in your lifetime. All right. So we're looking at about 20 hours ago here. 5.5 in Indonesia. 4.9 in that rift zone in the South Pacific north of New Zealand. 4.7 China. 4.2 in California as thousands and thousands of aftershocks continue to hit that area. Here's the location of this. This one located near Little San Bernardino Mountains in Queen Valley. I don't know anything about California geography, folks, so I'm not trying to show off. Also, we see a 5.1 in Japan. That one's at depth. Not sure where yesterday's Yesterday's deep quake was there, but this one's at 102 kilometers also. 102 kilometers depth. Man, oh man, there is so much stuff to cover. I got to blast through these earthquakes. Let's see how fast I can read. 4.6 in Nicaragua, 5.0 in Iran. Shout out if you're able to view these videos from the Middle East. 4.4 in Asahi, which is one of my favorite beers ever. Asahi, one of the driest beers on earth. How about a 4.8 at New Zealand? 4.6 at Japan. 4.9 at Indonesia. 4.1 at Searles Valley, California. And let's zoom in on that one more time. This one located right near where that 7+ magnitude, that 7.1 happened, which was right up in here somewhere. So as thousands and thousands of aftershocks continue, please leave us a comment if you're viewing from California and you know how to predict earthquakes, or you felt the quakes, or you feel like commenting and telling me you're going to murder me with a chainsaw. It's all good. Here's the Northern Hemisphere jet stream, which is not particularly streamy, governed by lots of convective patterns, as well as meridional jet stream flow. Icy air flowing out of the Arctic. High-speed winds over northeastern Canada. Here's the Southern Hemisphere jet stream. A little more organized, although pretty meridional also. Please leave a comment if you're experiencing a cold winter in the Southern Hemisphere. Here's a situation over Europe and the Middle East. Massive convective flow there. Equatorial regions are just exchanging gas from the hemispheres. A massive low down here south of India. Flood warning going on above my head right now for another oh, the flood warning ended 7 minutes ago. Anyway, here's the pressure map. I think. Global pressure map view there. A major exchange circuit system going on down here. Anticyclone right next to a large low, as well as a low south of the Aleutian Islands. And check out the convective forces running the show over the U.S. You call that a jet stream? 2 anticyclones sitting around. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Looks like we've got additional Sasquatch farts, which we try to document. Oh yeah, we got major Sasquatch activity here. All those spots there, these are all Yeti, or perhaps Sasquatches, either entering or leaving our plane of existence. So if you've got footage of Sasquatches, Yetis, Bigfoot, or Chewbacca in the wild, or if you're tiptoeing through the tulips with some 8-foot tall hairy individuals right now and having a psychic love fest, please leave a comment. Or if you're viewing the video from a different plane of existence, multiverse, planetary system, galaxy, spacecraft. Or if you're viewing the video through the Matrix, please leave a comment. Anyway, these are just basically tuning problems with the Doppler radar, folks. This is a spot where if you're under these areas, you'll probably go, it's not raining here. And that's because it's precipitating someplace in the atmosphere above your head. That's the way Doppler radar works. It's measuring movement, vertical movement in the atmosphere. and I'll stop making fun of weather forecasting. Massive lightning over the North American region. Next time you hear thunder, check out lightningmaps.org like I did last night, as we got pummeled over and over again by severe thunderstorms and flooding. I hesitate to think what the Lehigh Valley is going to look like today. And this dry air is finally going to push to the east and get out of here. Check out the photo of the day. Look at the sulfur deposits on that thing. Bright yellow all over the side. That's like probably a football field sized area at least. The southeast oriented fissure, the summit crater of, I don't know. Thanks for telling us which volcano it is. Very concise. Anyway, volcano rundown. Shout out Anomalous Howard, as you requested volcano rundowns and elongated our video by 5 minutes. Thanks a lot. Oh, geez. Okay, it loaded. Thank you. Thank you very much. Looks like Abico has erupted, produced a 12,000-foot ash plume. Sanjiang Api, 8,000-foot plume there. Krakatau. Eruption not visible on satellite, yet still on the list for some freaking reason. Dacono, 5,000-foot ash plume there as explosive activity continues. Popocatépetl, still blowing up, producing a 21,000-foot plume. Sabancaya, producing a 25,000-foot plume. And Ubinas, similar situation there. Please don't fly your ultralight over that. We've graduated to the that's an ass and that's a hole in the ground section of vulgarity-free video. Thanks, Linda Estelle, for citing this Wall Street Journal article. Now, we're not going to cite the Wall Street Journal because that's a subscription site, but this is all over the internet, folks. Google Maps is flooded with millions of fake business listings. There was a study done, and it doesn't look good. They had to take down more than 3 million false business profiles and disabled the 150,000 accounts used to make them. So if you didn't think Google's bad enough with the spying and the altering search results and the attempts to screw with presidential elections, check out the article listed in the description below this video about how Google Maps is flooded with millions of fake business listings. It gets worse. We cover this practically every day as a new story comes out practically every day. And if you're concerned about Facebook's responsibility in this, Facebook has been fined $5 billion. That's $5 billion. So watch their earnings to come out, I think it's today. Definitely this week, though, for all these companies, such as Alphabet. Are you familiar with Alphabet? Because Google is no longer Google. Google is just a possession of Alphabet. They tried to change their name and, that standard thing that companies do when they try to hide from their own legacy. Links in the description about Alphabet. Let's zoom into one of the creepiest places on Earth. 1600 Amphitheater Parkway. 1600 Amphitheater Parkway in Mountain View. Links to this location on OpenStreetMaps. That's openstreetmap.org, an alternative to Google Maps. Anyway, if you want to be horrified, check out this place, one of the creepiest places ever built in the history of mankind. Let's look at some alternatives. to Google's nonsensical, biased search, as if you're using Google as a verb, you should probably know it's not a verb. It ought to not be a verb. Now, Merriam-Webster claims it is. Watch this. Merriam-Webster thinks Google is a verb. They need to add an annotation to this. It means to use the Google search engine to obtain information about someone or something on the World Wide Web. If they just added the word biased right here, as Google makes sure to include strictly
biased
search results as they attempt to shake down their users for things like money and personal information that they'll try to sell to advertisers. So instead, try using DuckDuckGo, an objective search engine that won't track you. It won't store your personal information. It won't follow you around with ads and creep the hell out of you. And it won't track you even when you're not in private browsing mode. If you'd like objective search results, I highly recommend DuckDuckGo.com and not this G word nonsense. Also, I'd recommend Brave Browser instead of Google Chrome, since Google Chrome is junk. To call it spyware is to insult spies, because Google Chrome is way worse than spyware. It's junkware because it barely functions. So check out Brave.com. Since you're not a product, Brave's on a mission to fix the web, as certain companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter attempt to destroy it and fail, since they're shirking their fiduciary responsibilities. So look for the boards of directors of these companies to be under indictment soon. They deserve it. Let's talk about fiduciary responsibility. Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter are 100% absolutely in violation of their
fiduciary
responsibility to shareholders. Do you own stock in those four companies? Are you purchasing their stock in order for them to attempt to affect presidential elections and your search results and shake down YouTube channels for money and monetize YouTube channels and put restrictions on them to prevent money from coming out and show ads to their viewers and on and on? Again, look for boards of directors of these companies to be under indictment soon, as they are clearly in violation of their fiduciary responsibilities. Widespread blackout hits Venezuela as government blames electromagnetic attack. Now, there's no evidence that there's an electromagnetic attack. Let's play a video. Let's play a clip. We have police acting as traffic lights instead of traffic lights. I don't see anybody stabbing anybody for food in this video. It looks pretty safe. Nobody looks like they're starving to death. However, there is no indication that an electromagnetic attack happened. Yet Venezuelan Information Minister Jorge Rodriguez said the outage was caused by an electromagnetic attack without providing evidence. Please leave a comment if you think the US flew a laser plane over and created a dimensional vortex, gating in a bunch of Sasquatches who then shut down the electrical system of Venezuela. Links in the description of that video also. Again, flooding going on above my head right now, as it's still raining, despite the flood watch going away. Lehigh Valley's been getting hammered, and I could have sworn there was a graphic on here, or I wouldn't be showing you the article. There are links in the description to it, as Route 22 got closed down yet again. yesterday. It didn't even require any crashers. At about 8:40, Nature did it for us. Anyway, check out this Extreme Tech article, extremetech.com, reporting that Google might try to buy your face for $5. What could possibly go wrong, folks? Let's all go to Google headquarters and sell our faces for $5. Although they're not going to give you $5, it's way worse. I'll read directly from the article. Phew. All right. After agreeing to help out, participants are handed a phone inside a large case that obscured the shape. It's common for engineers to use cases like this to hide pre-release junkware, phones during testing, which strongly suggests the devices are Google Google Pixel 4S. It reportedly takes a few minutes for the phone to acquire face data as people move their heads around. And then they're free to paint the town red with their $5 gift cards to Amazon or Starbucks. I love it. Dear viewers, please leave a comment if you're planning to sell your face to Google. Anyway, thanks for viewing, everybody. Here's a cosmology article. I'm not going to really get into it, but let's just say what's not around is just as important as what is around when it comes to cosmology. And so everybody knows about the local group. Few people know about the local void. It has to do with ionization pathways. And we have links to the article here. So check that out. It's a universetoday.com article about the local void. And voids are an important cosmological feature. But we've also got links to this article, Cosmology Science by David Dilworth, for those of you who are not familiar with things like the Boötes void. And there's an even larger one that's like over 1 billion, 3.5 billion light years across. It's called the Giant Void. Links to that also, links to the article. So please visit those. And thanks for viewing the Smash stream. There are way too many comments for me to cover. I'm going to just scroll down. And if you've got comments to the comments because you're viewing the video after it aired, please don't hesitate to leave those comments. And thanks for viewing, everybody. We're going to totally skip cosmic rays, and we're going to skip transients. We're just going to go back. We'll go back to 9 hours and 15 minutes of solar activity again. And let's do the colorized magnetogram this time. Check out the cycle 25 activity. That is Sunspot 2745, or the remnant of it. That is south of the equator, and that is cycle 25 polarity, in case you were wondering. We put this on the other side so it doesn't cover up that location. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Your support is critical, so please help out in any way you can, whether it's sharing the videos on your social media, pressing like, subscribe, leaving a comment. All of that helps our analytics, as Google pays us nothing for these videos. So if you're able to contribute $1 on Patreon, that makes a huge difference. And look for another video coming out later this afternoon. We'll be talking to Kristen Westbrook if everything goes according to plan. So remember, when you're staring at the sun, not to drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back and that atherosclerosis absent from your arteries.